Are speakers that take more power better? You'd think so. Anyway, the question comes from Dewey Nguyen in Winnipeg, Canada. Hi, Paul. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the land where the Guess Who and Neil Young originated from. Yes. I try to watch your videos whenever I can and whenever I'm at work. Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be working when you're at work? I enjoy them a lot. Well, thanks, Dewey. My question is, when speaker manufacturers create speakers that require more power to sound good, like the ELAC Unify? It must be. Yeah, okay. Unfi is a food delivery service. The ELAC Unify and the KEF LS50, I know those, and I don't think they take a lot, Dewey. But anyway, do they sound better because they require more power? Do better sounding tweeters, drivers, require more power in general? I notice speakers that are more expensive, higher end, better sounding, usually require a lot of power to sound amazing and are built at a lower impedance ohms. Couldn't manufacturers just make speakers efficient and then run them at 8 ohms or higher? I mean, yeah. Well, certainly they could, and there's a whole breed of speakers called horns, like the Avant-Gardes, like I think Magico makes a horn. I mean, there's probably tons of people that make horns, and those things are incredibly efficient. I mean, 1 watt, 2 watts in those things, 10 watts, and you're just smoking. And some of them are very exotic, very high-end, and good sounding. I mean, I am not a fan of horns. I'll be honest with you. I've just never liked the sound of horns. There have been a few that don't sound like this, that they've solved those problems, but they always have a sound to them, and I have to get used to them. And one of the criteria I have for speakers is I don't want to get used to the sound to where my brain has to adjust to the way they sound, so you're like, okay, yeah, this is music. That's not good. If I hear a speaker that I like, I walk in to a room or whatever's playing, and it's like, whoa, now we're listening to music. That's how I know, right away. It's not like, this is different. And you adjust. As I remember the first time I sat in a Canadian home in an unnamed reviewer's house, because I have to be careful about reviewers. I don't want to piss any of them off. And this reviewer had a pair of Avant-Gardes, and those are horns, and playing our equipment. And I listened to it, and I just thought, oh my God, this does not sound like music. Over the course of about 15 minutes of listening, my brain readjusted, and then it did sound like music. And that's just something we're very malleable creatures. We can definitely adjust to where something, it's like, after a while, things calm down and we get used to it. But that's not a good criteria for a speaker, in my opinion. So anyway, we've gone off topic here. The general answer, Dewey, is no. Speakers that require more power don't generally sound better, but better sounding speakers generally require more power. Now, I know that sounds circuitous. I know that sounds like I'm kind of running around in a circle, but let's think about that for a moment and maybe give you an analogy. Expensive cars generally are safer and better driving than less expensive cars. But less expensive cars are great to drive and can be safe. So I think what it boils down to is that when a designer has the luxury of knowing that the user has enough money or desire to have equipment that is capable of delivering decent power. In other words, your target audience is not going to be somebody who has a 20-watt receiver, and you're going to make a speaker that sounds as good as it possibly can on these cheap low-powered receivers. If that's the case, if you know that this person is likely to have a 100 watt per channel amplifier or something with some guts to it, then you can take away some of the compromises you would have to make in order to get a speaker to be extremely efficient and play music well at the same time. So it's a lot easier to apply power, to have power available to then make your drivers do what you want, because there's no free lunch. So if we want to create a world-class speaker, it doesn't have to take scads of power, but it's likely going to take a decent amount of power. And that's just the nature of drivers and the compromises that we, as engineers, have to make. Okay? So thanks. I'll talk to you tomorrow.